calls for Carboni's Pizza, game day fuel since 1954. Fuel your Game 5 playoff party tonight by ordering at carbonispizza.com.
Past, I'm Common. East Tennessee, third hour. Mark Rosen will, I don't think he's back this week on the
I think
air.
he's back Thursday.
Oh, he is?
On the Ten Fitzgerald, actually.
That's right. I'm out on Thursday and Friday. I'm a part of it's the KFAN Grandview Lodge Power Trip Golf Opener.
Power Trip
Golf Opener. And Common Man I'm grateful that I'm allowed to just tag along as the official, unofficial ambassador to Minnesota Golf. So I'm out Thursday and Friday. Tennessee will be, Ten Fitzgerald will set sail. Received this text message from, during the Grum here, from my, one of my friends who's a member of the basketball community. And he says, as tennis said, we are wearing/tiring their stars out, meaning Denver. Because that's because there isn't a team in the association that's more dependent on their stars than Denver. The fall is so dramatic. Denver has to play Joker and Murray 40 minutes a game. They are so thin, and the drop-off is incredible. We win game 4 by 16 with Dante out after 1 minute of action and Ant for the second half. That is depth, me boy, in Tim Connolly. Connolly, I trust. And while I don't necessarily disagree with that, the Wolves have a little bit of depth. I'll repeat what I said earlier, because here's my take on what we've seen that's happened. Because most teams don't play defense most of the time during the regular season, and the Wolves are as guilty as anything. It's just a fact. If you watch the association, teams don't. If it's late in a game and it's close, teams will batten down the hatches. Or if it's two teams that know, we got to send a message here. We're going to see you in the playoffs. We know it later in this, even if it's in November, December. San Antonio and OKC know that more than likely, barring some upsets and any major injuries, those two teams are going to square off, right, in the Western Conference Finals. Those are the two teams that are probably going to get there. So then you don't want to lose to those clubs, right? Denver's offense I think I saw this, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw that they are the most efficient offense statistically in the National Basketball Association this year. And there's a reason for that, because our offense runs with little to no resistance all year long. The other team's not playing defense. So then Denver doesn't have to play defense either, because they're just outscoring their opponents by large. I know to win you have to outscore, but I mean, it's just who puts the ball in the hoop more, not who can shut down another team and keep them from scoring for a 2, 3, 8, 10-minute stretch. They just play offense and pile up points. They haven't had to work on their offense all year long. Now the Wolves, who basically don't play defense except when they want to, have decided we're going to play defense. And we know statistically over the past few years, when they put their mind to it, they're as good as any team defensively in the NBA and might be the best team defensively in the NBA. Now that the playoffs have started, we've decided we're going to shut down that high-powered Denver offense by playing get-in-your-face defense. And that's what they've done. And Denver doesn't know how to respond. That's on Denver. That's not a criticism of the Wolves. I'm praising the Wolves for playing defense when it's most needed. I'd rather see it during the regular season as well, but teams realize they don't have to do that. That's just not how the game works in the NBA. It just doesn't work that way, and that's fine. People still enjoy the product. It's growing worldwide, and if people are okay with watching games and going to games where, I mean, the Wolves said at the beginning of the season, I'll never forget when Ant said a week or two in, he said, just seems like we don't want to play these regular season games. I think they do become, I know that a lot of the people writing, I think this is also kind of an excuse for them not giving everything they've got. Other times they're a moody team. They're moody. I've seen that written locally by a couple of different writers. And what does that mean, they're moody? I'm moody, but I give it everything I've got every day, pretty much. But I don't know what they mean by that. So you're a moody team. Well, what does that matter? But Denver doesn't know what to do, because all of a sudden it's like, well, wait now. They're swarming us. They're in our face. they're not just letting us shoot wide open threes like we've been used to all season long. And the Wolves have...
Well, now, I agree with that, but I would also say a couple years ago in the playoffs when the Wolves played Denver, that looked like a completely different Nikola Jokic than what I'm seeing in this series.
Yeah.
And in that series previously, if you remember, Karl-Anthony Towns was the only one who had a modicum of success. Yeah. Everyone else, Rudy struggled against him.
Correct.
Nas Reed, I think probably Slow-Mo got some action against him back then. And whoever played against him would just foul, felt like they were all in foul trouble.
Right.
So Rudy, I don't know what Rudy has changed in those couple of years on how he plays the Joker, but he is immensely more effective, and he's doing it without fouling him. And so I don't know if he learned something. I don't know if he put himself in better shape. I don't know if there's some coaching here of, hey, you got to play Joker like this. But he is complete. I don't want to say he's shutting down Joker, but compared to what we see from MVP Joker, he's shutting him down. This is a guy he's always had his way, and it was like, all right, let's make sure we shut down the rest of Denver's offense because Joker's just going to get his. But in this series, Joker's not just getting his. It's a huge challenge for him.
Well, I think and
they're attacking him when he's on defense.
Well, I think I have a theory.
Okay.
It's Gobert, and he stated so publicly. He felt like he got dissed by he's not in the running for NBA's Defensive Player of the Year. I don't even think he was one of the top 4 nominees. Isn't that what happened? There was something about that. He was all bitter. The team was beside themselves. Finch said it was a crime. And it very well could be. I'm not saying that it's not. He probably should be. He might be. Maybe he should win his 5th, not 1st, not 2nd, not 3rd, not 4th, but 5th NBA Defensive Player of the Year. I think it pissed him off. I think it's what it did. He said, there were quotes where he said, that's all right, they can, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, and I can't do a French accent. But he said, I was disrespected. They don't believe him. That's fine. I mean, we know, did you see when Gobert went on the air with Chuck and Shaq? Shaq has ripped Gobert forever.
I didn't see it, no.
Oh, yeah.
Shaq, it's not like him.
And Shaq asked him a question. And Gobert took it. Gobert, at that point, Gobert could have said, well, you don't like me as a player, so why do you have any question? He very professional, and Shaq only had one question for him. Then Shaq moved on, because I don't think Shaq likes seeing this. Shaq has ripped Gobert relentlessly forever.
He's eating a little crow right now.
Yeah, and I think he's eating a little bit of crow. Because
lots of people are.
Yeah, because Gobert is just plain terrific. And I think a lot of it has to do, he felt disrespected. And there could be some, maybe when someone really gets in Joker, because Towns did do a nice job but nothing like what I'm seeing. This
is a whole nother level.
Yeah, I think you're right. Gobert or Joker, he's just not the same thing. He's still getting those triple doubles or close, but like you said the other day, he's scoring.
His scoring's not as efficient.
Yeah, he's taking like 30 shots to get his 25 points or whatever. And defensively, I don't pay close attention to the league. I would have thought he's a good. He doesn't seem like he's very good defensively.
Well, and also, typically when you've had to go against Joker, the guy guarding him needs help. I don't think Gobert's needs a lot of help. So
I think you're right.
That now has an impact on the other players on offense and what the looks they get. Because obviously Joker's an elite passer, but part of it is he draws people into him, which leaves passing lanes open. But I don't think we haven't had to double team him a whole lot.
Lavelli Neal III wrote today in his piece. I'll get you the headline because I think this is maybe it's not even so much that. Here it is. He says, Timberwolves can beat Denver without DiVincenzo and Edwards. After that, oof. The Wolves showed on Saturday they have the Nuggets number even without 2 key players, but in the long run they will miss their starting backcourt too much. I tend to kind of agree. I don't think that's a controversial take. It'll be hard without Anthony DiVincenzo to beat either San Antonio or it'd be hard for them to beat San Antonio or Oklahoma City with both those guys. It doesn't mean they can't do it, right? I mean, they're certainly capable of it.
I still think it might be hard to beat Denver.
Well,
defensively, they're still going to be all right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say, because I know they just beat them, and they beat them pretty handily. I mean, they pulled away in that fourth quarter and ended up winning by, 10, 12 points. In that last 3-4 minutes of the game, it was over. I mean, even though Denver was trying, that game was over. There was no way that they were going to come back and tie. You could just see it, feel it. It wasn't going to happen. But I think every game has to be taken individually. And when you see emotions run high, right? So do tempers. And when DiVincenzo goes down, and then Ant goes down, it's the old sort of like everybody knows in that moment, crowds roaring, we need to raise our game to another level now without those two guys. And they did do just that. Io did that. Can he do that again? Can he make that last? That's what I don't know. Now, I get the feeling he can. I don't think this is a one-off because he had 25 points the game before. He can flat out play there. I don't think he brings an energy to the club. They talk about how they run at a different pace because of him, because he likes to get out and go. And the Timberwolves, I think with Edwards, they sort of like to kind of be more of a half-court team, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't watch enough of the league. It seems like, but now they move the ball. And so there's certainly, I certainly won't be surprised or shocked if they win and win 4-1 because I would hope Denver's got enough professionalism where they're just not all. And again, it goes to individual players like we ain't coming back and winning this thing. We just don't have it this year. This is embarrassing. Plus, we ain't going to beat any of the other teams, and so you kind of go through. Let's just get this thing over and get the gentleman's sweep done. I'm sure you're going to get their best effort. But you're right. It's possible without those two players.
They could go in dry spells without Ant. I mean, they did it during the regular season when Ant was missing, right? They had a couple games in a row where like, oh, we don't need Ant. And then all of a sudden the offense fell apart.
Yeah, that's right.
And, in this series, DiVincenzo was huge. The amount of threes he was hitting early on in this series, the looks he was getting, and obviously Ant can take over a possession or a game at any time.
One of the Wolves players said...
And you have to focus on him.
One of the Wolves players said in the post game, I don't remember what he said, but they were talking about how important DiVincenzo has been to this team, particularly this year and this playoff series. And they're spot on. And not having him certainly, he played every game this year. Maybe he needed load management, Tenneby. Maybe that's what it was. If he would have had load management. And Ant played a lot. The only games Ant didn't play just because he could not play. Ant is another guy that doesn't like load management. He's usually playing... He's playing 70-plus games, mid-70s.
He was questionable for every game this year.
And he still kept playing. So, but yeah, I think, you're up 3-1. You got to think they got to win one of the next three, and they could just wrap it up. I'm sorry, is that tonight?
They play tonight at 9:30.
9:30.
Yeah.
And Wild are tomorrow
Thanks,
night?
NBA.
Wild is tomorrow night
at 7. Tomorrow night at 7,
Very good. We'll break. We'll come back. More to get to. Tenneby's got a keyword for us here, though.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword fun at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is fun. Enter now at KFAN.com. KFAN welcomes some great shows at Chartered Field this year. Tim McGraw will be there August 23rd and My Chemical Romance on August 24th. Get the complete details on all of our upcoming shows on the concert page at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Tenneby. You're getting ripped.
Okay.
For... I guess being like me. Because here's what it says.
Morale drain?
Well, let me see if I can find it first. Here. No. Not paying off a tease. Hold on. I got to find my sounder. I got to have it before I do it. Tease about Justin JG, the no payoff. You didn't mention Justin Guard. What about Justin Guard?
I always love that.
You didn't pay that off. Can you tell us what you meant by
I always love that.
No JG?
Jonathan Grenard, JG.
Oh, you did pay it off then.
I did pay off the tease.
Okay. Because I was starting to think the same thing, that you didn't pay it off. You sent me this post. This was from, how long ago was this now? I guess just before noon. I just saw it now, sorry. The hashtag Vikings have officially exercised Jordan Addison's 5th-year option. That means normally if a team really, really wants you, don't they usually renegotiate after 4 years and extend your contract? Or am I wrong? How does
this
that
is
work?
after 3 years.
Oh.
So we
okay.
are picking up the 5th-year option for next season. So there's still time for a contract extension, but yes, like your surefire, we want to keep that guy here. You typically try to sign them earlier before the price goes up even more.
This has to surprise Ben Lieber then, because he thinks that Jordan Addison is already a better wide receiver than Amon-Ra St. Brown, and the Lions extended him to a jaw-dropping monetary contract extension. So,
so the 5th-year option is in 2027. So actually, from cap hit standpoint, he's only making $4.4 million this year. But then his salary next year will be $18 million guaranteed, which is still a bargain for a wide receiver like him.
Can he make that last? So here's what
But he might want to be on his best behavior. I know it's challenging for him, and I don't know how his dog's doing, but over the next calendar year.
He had the 2 driving incidents, and then he had the one where he missed a walkthrough or something, or a practice when he was in Europe. So, has there been any others, or do I have them all? They're hard to keep track of after a while. So the Vikings they took Caleb Walking Boot Banks at 18 overall, defensive tackle out of Florida. Number 2, here's what's funny too. I do skim the draft report cards. I don't look at them all. There are literally hundreds of draft report cards. There was one. There's one that talks about maybe we'll take a look at that next segment. It talks about somebody said the draft pick that I really like, and the draft pick I didn't, or that raised eyebrows, right? And it's funny because with our second pick in the second round of the National Football League draft, 51st pick overall, the Minnesota Vikings chose Cincinnati linebacker Jake Galladay.
He's as good as gold.
He's as good as gold. I saw one guy say he loved that pick, another guy panned it. It's like,
yes,
it's okay. So no one knows for sure. Then they selected Dominique Orange.
Big Citrus.
I like. Is that what they call him?
That's what they call it. That's his nickname.
Oh, because I was going to say
Citrus.
That's genius. Big Citrus. He was in third round.
Hopefully he doesn't play like a big lemon.
Wait. Let's send that to rewrite and have him punch it up a little bit. 82nd pick overall, Dominique Orange, defensive tackle, Iowa State. Looks like we're trying to get stronger up the middle, aren't we? Now, the Galladay, good as gold, might have been partly because Grenard's gone, right?
Yeah, he's. The point I was going to make in a little while after you got through all this was there's clearly B-flow fingerprints on a lot of these picks.
Yeah.
Like the Banks is a guy who can basically play like 3 different spots in the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Golday started off as a defensive end in college, then moved to, he can play the Mike, he can play the Sam, he can play the edge. So he's like a chess piece that Flores can, I can move him here on this play, I can move him here on this play. I think. And
then another DT, the kid out of Iowa. So you get another defensive tackle. So we're trying to, last year we bought our defensive tackles on the free agent, right? We went free agency instead and got veterans. This time we're drafting those kids. And again, whether these players turn out or not, I don't know. Did I say Iowa? I meant Iowa State if I said Iowa.
Yeah, you said Iowa. I was a little thrown on.
Iowa State.
But even on the website I'm on, it said Ohio State. I'm like, no, he's not Ohio State. It's Iowa.
How about that? Did Ohio State, like 4 guys go in the top 10? It was 3 or 4 went in the top 10.
Yeah, they're basically an NFL team there.
They really are. Then we went with our offensive tackle out of Northwestern, 3rd round, 97th pick. Then we had the pick right because one of those was compensatory. Then, or was it one we got?
They both ended up being compensatory because the one was Philadelphia's compensatory picks
for Grenard.
So 97 was ours, 98 was Philadelphia's.
So we got Caleb Tiernan, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. Then we went back to defense. Jacoby Thomas, safety out of Miami. Then we drafted a fullback, Tennessee.
Yes.
5th round, 159th pick. Max Bredesen, fullback, University of Michigan, that school up north. Deuce was bitter. He wanted to see Emmett Johnson come here. Is that the kid's name?
Yes.
The kid he played at Nebraska.
He went to KC.
He went to KC. It must be that. What is that running back room before we got Bredesen? Has it changed at all? Did we sign a free agent?
Basically the same. We have Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason.
Okay. So we must, and we got the fullback.
I don't think we have Ty Chandler anymore, but.
So we got the fullback to sort of kind of replace the kid that retired. CJ Ham. That would lead me to believe we're going to kind of keep running the same kind of offense. You know, we need, because we're one of the few teams that runs a fullback, right? There's only like a half a dozen teams, I think, that even employ a fullback anymore. So that's what we decided to do there. I think then we went with Charles Deming's 5th round pick. He's from Stephen F. Austin down in Texas. He's a cornerback. And then Damon Claiborne, a running back out of Wake Forest, and Gavin Gerhardt. He got my center. Kind of took him a while to get there. I'm not sure if that means, and again, I'll repeat it. You've heard me say it 1,000 times, hundreds of times. You can draft guys in the 7th round and they can be stars. They can develop. So but well,
that was kind of my one bitterness with the draft was my Purple Prey guy, Sam Hecht, center out of Kansas State, ended up dropping in the 5th round. And so the Vikings had multiple shots at taking him and they did not.
Where did he end up going? Do you know?
I forget where he went, but I know he's drafted in the 5th.
Okay. So, and again, you know, to me, these are just names and draft rounds and draft pick numbers and positions in schools. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to do a meat sauce and pretend I've studied these players and I've watched them all play before. But, you know, the Banks guy, we talked about it on Friday. There's a lot of controversy surrounding him because it seems like the world's his oyster. He's one of those guys that has, you know, physically he's imposing. His size, his weight, and he moves big for a big guy, but he's got the bad foot. You know, he's broken a metatarsal bone in his foot. And then you wonder, you know, the questions are, guy with that much weight, that much size, when you have to use your legs and your feet so much when you're playing in the trenches that you wonder, could this be an injury situation that might recur again? I guess that's a chance to take. I mean, I think it was Brzezinski who said, well, there's risk in all these guys. And that is true, but there are some guys that have seen they're more of a risk. But as we know in the NFL, I guess in the NHL as well, it just takes, look at the NBA. It just takes, you just land wrong one time, like Ant did, and all of a sudden you're out for several weeks. So, but I don't mind the pick. I guess this would end up happening to me. If he becomes injury prone with the foot and doesn't play a lot, becomes Royce Lewis, people will go, well, why did you waste your pick when you knew he had injuries? And if he ends up staying healthy and being a great player, say, man, it was a great pick they made there. Why did people think he would get a re-injured foot? So hopefully he stays healthy because by all accounts, there were people that dropped him in the draft board, but that was, I think, only because of the injuries. I think most people thought he was, you know, one of the better DTs in the draft. So we'll see how that works out. Our final segment, come back with a little of this, a little of that, with the emphasis on the lat, here on the Common Man program on the Fan. Couple 13-14 pass. I'm Common. He's 10 to B. Dateline, Washington. The man who authorities say tried to storm the White House Correspondents Association dinner with guns and knives was charged today with attempted assassination of President Donald Trump. He will remain at least temporarily behind bars as the case moves forward. Cole Thomas Allen. They always use the middle name.
Yes.
Because they don't want to confuse him with some other Cole Allen. Hey, I thought you got arrested. What are you doing at work today? Cole Thomas Allen appeared in court Monday to face federal charges in a chaotic encounter that resulted in shots being fired, Trump being rushed off the stage, and guests ducking for cover underneath their tables. He was taken into custody after the shooting on Saturday night, sat beside his lawyers in a brief appearance Monday in Washington's federal court. You know, the Warren Zevon song, Send Lawyers, Guns, and Money. He's got lawyers. He had guns. Those are gone, I would hope now. I don't know what kind of money he's got, but can he make it last? Besides being charged with attempting to assassinate the Republican president, Allen also faces 2 firearms charges. He did not enter a plea. Investigators, he had writings that he sent to emails or text messages to family members calling him. I'm your friendly federal assassin, I think is what he said. Investigators are treating the writings along with the trail of social media posts and interviews with family members as some of the clearest evidence of the suspect's mindset and possible motives. Allen is believed to have traveled by train from California to Chicago and then on to Washington, where he checked himself in as a guest at the hotel where the gala dinner was held, with its typically tight security. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said, it does appear that he did in fact set out to target folks who work in the administration, likely including the president. Records show Allen is a highly educated tutor and amateur video game developer. A social media profile for a man with the same name and a photo that appears to match that of the suspect showed he worked part-time for the last 6 years at a company that offers admissions counseling and test preparation services to aspiring college students. End of this story. And I saw the video. They have the grainy video. It must be the security cameras that are up in the lobby of the hotel. You see this dude comes sprinting down the hallway, on the corridor, at the Hotel California, and he gets by him, and then all of a sudden you see people draw guns, bang, 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 and then they catch him, and they apprehend him, obviously. It's like, this is like the third time. There was the guy that they shot up on the roof. That was somewhere in Pennsylvania during the campaign, right? He shot Trump in the ear. Then there was the guy that was at the golf course that was trying to stick a barrel of a gun through the fence and shoot him out on the, behind a grassy knoll out on the 13th, 14th hole. And now this, and on this hotel one, I guess I always thought, especially because we've had 4 presidents assassinated in the history of this country. Abe Lincoln. What was Garfield's first name? Not the cat. I'm talking about the president.
He liked lasagna. I know that.
Was it William Can you look it up? James Garfield. He was shot. William McKinley was assassinated. And John F. Kennedy.
James A. Garfield.
James A. Garfield. And then Reagan took a bullet outside that same hotel back in 1981, I think it was. And Squeaky Fromm tried to shoot Gerald Ford. And am I missing one? Then we've had Robert F. Kennedy assassinated, Martin Luther King. There have been other, somebody tried to gun down, somebody shot George Wallace when he was on the campaign trail in 1972, and I think he was paralyzed from the waist down. If you remember, after the guy on the roof, up on a roof shot, and grazed the ear, they got rid of the person that was in head of Social Security, security. What I'm looking for? Yeah, presidential.
Secret Service.
She's done. She tried to defend herself, and then she said, well, no, I guess I'm out. I don't know if she resigned or they just booted her out. But anyway, wouldn't you think that, am I wrong? Is it that easy to be able to, again, this guy was quite a ways away from getting into the ballroom and opening fire, but it's like, and it is kind of strange that, I guess the hotel's got to keep doing business, right? I guess. It seems weird. You just be able to check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. And they got to do something, I think, about security. They're going to have to revisit. I think they even said that we're going to have to revisit how we secure the president. Because it's like, it seems like if you put your mind to it, you're going to at least get close to an opportunity to, which just shouldn't be, should it? Especially in this day and age where there's so much. That's like 3 times now. And then we saw what happened here in Minnesota. Was that last summer or was it last May or was it the May before? I don't remember now anymore. Time flies. But anyway, I think they need to beef up security in some way. But it's easy for me to say because I'm not in charge of it. But it just seems like I don't know how this. I'd step it up in one way, shape, or form. Let's talk to Warren. Warren, you're on the fan.
Yeah, I don't think, I agree with some of the things you've said about the draft and a couple of the players that you two really like.
Yes.
I wish they would have been here. Coogan, the center from Indiana.
Hell of a player.
There's no doubt that he was a low-round draft choice. he should be here.
Yeah.
But I think the Warren character, that defensive back from Akron, here's what if it would have been my druthers, this is what would have happened.
All right.
They would have got both. They would have got both the defensive backs because they could have got them both. The guy from Oregon. This is another thing you'll want to compare. Take a look at that tight end from Oregon. Take a look at those two defensive backs that they could have got. Compare them to your defensive linemen that you got.
Okay.
And this is what I think the fans should do. The players the Vikings didn't get, and they decided to choose on each round, take a look at the players they should have drafted and compare how their careers go.
Okay.
And generally, this is the thing that you'll find with the Minnesota Vikings. Usually, there's always really good players staring them right in the face that are obvious picks. And these are the things that as a fan, that I would look for. I predict the best player that they drafted will be the running back from Wake Forest. That, in my opinion, was their best choice. The orange character out of Iowa, I believe he's going to be a sure thing, and I have no doubts about it. And the linebacker, if he stays healthy, that's going to be an outstanding choice also.
Which one?
And
which one's going to be? Which one? Which guy healthy is an outstanding choice?
The golden boy.
Oh, the kid from Cincinnati.
Here's something that nobody said that this guy can do. And I believe the reason they drafted him, because he's really good at covering the middle of the field.
I think somebody did say that.
So the thing about him is he can actually play a linebacker position.
No, he can't.
Instead of having a linebacker blitzing all the time.
Possible.
That's been part of the problem. And with that being said, another thing where they made a mistake early.
You're sure?
They made a mistake with the defensive back. When the Vikings in free agency, they went after the wrong defensive back.
Who should they have gone after?
If they would have been able to get those two defensive backs, and they would have got Nick Cross, who was 24. This is what they did.
You're basically saying, do you like parades?
I don't think that's going to happen. But what I'm saying is, if the Minnesota Vikings would not have taken that defensive back from Pittsburgh, if they would have signed Nick Cross, the guy from Indianapolis,
that's who I would have signed too. Yep.
No, I'm saying the guy was 24 years old. He was considered the best guy to come. They paid as much money for the guy from Pittsburgh as Nick Cross, 24 years old, and he's a proven NFL player that can play. And I'll tell you what,
I think if
they would have got those three.
I think the tight end from Oregon was already gone. He was gone already. So
well, here's what I'll say about Bogosian, which I know about him. He isn't who I would have picked up.
No, of course.
But I'll say one thing about the guy. No, this is one thing I'll say about the guy though.
Quickly.
When he played at Michigan, one thing I know about him, he was always in the play, whether it was on special teams. They had him at tight end. They had him in the backfield, and I even think he played a little defense. So the guy's a player. He may not be spectacular, but the guy will make the team and will contribute.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks,
you betcha.
Thanks,
bye-bye.
I appreciate that, Warren. I had to. He waited for an hour and a half the other day, and he just is chomping at the bit. I'm the only show that will let him on the air. Nobody else will. I'm a softie.
Oh,
I like Warren. I think he's crazy, but I like him.
He tells us some stuff that not enough people are talking about. That nobody else is talking
that's
about.
That's exactly right. So this is that.
And there might be a reason why nobody else is talking about it.
That's not everybody else crazy talk. So here's what I was talking about. A CBS guy did, and he actually has the rules for why he calls it best pick or what is the title of this? NFL draft best, worst, and most interesting picks for each team.
Okay.
Each NFC team. I'm not going to read his rules. I don't care. I just want to see which ones he has. So for your Vikings, he thinks the best pick is the same one I think that Warren thinks. See, you don't think Warren...
Claiborne?
No, Jake Goal Day of Cincinnati.
Second round pick.
Yeah, that's what he writes. Goal Day went to the perfect scheme for his skill set. He's a former edge rusher who moved off ball at Cincinnati. He can range sideline to sideline while still... Why are you doing this to me? He can range sideline to sideline while still looking like an edge rusher. His pass rushing prowess will be perfect for Brian Flores' scheme. It's perfect. Couldn't believe he was still on the board. Worst pick? Caleb Walking Boot Banks.
Yeah.
This is what they say. Banks is the most prodigious physical talent in this defensive tackle class. At 6'6", 327 with over a 7-foot wingspan, when he fires off low into contact, he's nearly impossible to block. Nearly impossible to him. You don't even bother. Just let him go. The worry is that we never saw it consistently before his 2025 season was cut short with a foot injury that required surgery. He then had another foot surgery after an injury suffered during the combine week. That's a big swing for the Vikings to take. A big swing for the Vikings to take at number 18. I don't mind the big swing, though. I know there were some that Mark Craig, the esteemed football writer, Fish Wrap Factory, West Side, it seemed, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he seemed almost adamantly opposed to it. I can read you what he wrote, and you determine to me if this is being adamantly opposed. And that's the beauty of the NFL and the draft, and everybody's got their own opinions, right? But here's what Craig writes. I like Rob Brzezinski. Respect his work. Trying hard to respect the frightening trigger he pulled as Vikings interim general manager when he picked Caleb Walking Boot Banks 18th overall. Did Brzezinski strike a gold jacket return on a freakishly gifted giant wrapped in an even bigger red flag? Maybe. Did he embarrass the franchise by wasting a first-round pick on a big man with a twice-broken wheel everyone knew about? Maybe. Would I have taken the same risk? No. The draft already comes with too many unforeseen uncertainties, adding a known uncertainty the size of a 327-pound man who has already needed 2 foot surgeries 7 months apart in the past year at age 22, 23. Nope, not at 18. I would have been tempted, incredibly tempted. The Vikings, including the owner, signed off on this risk. But right or wrong, fair or not, Brzezinski owns this organizational pick. I would have taken the safety. Dylan Thieneman, who ended up with the Chicago Bears, Rob's infinitely more qualified, obviously. I'm trying to trust he made the better call. And that's how I kind of look at it as well. Now, I don't know if I say I think it was the way he phrased it at the beginning was trying hard to respect the frightening trigger he pulled as the Vikings interim general manager taking him. Frightening. I don't think it's frightening. I don't look at it as like, how do you do that? That's a scary proposition. I understand, and I think you do as well, Tim. I think we agree. There's a risk involved. The guy's had 2 injuries to his foot, but put it this way: it wouldn't be the first time. Here's what you got to tell yourself, and some people will disagree. They'll think this is flawed logic, and maybe it is. There isn't a team in the league that hasn't gotten a bust with their first round pick. It just happens sometimes. A guy just won't pan out, regardless of position, team, player, whatever the case may be. And so if they do, I don't think it's like, well, now you have to board up the stadium and shut down the franchise because we're never going to recover from that. But it is an important pick. Number 1, your first pick overall at 18, it's big, but I really don't. I don't mind. I don't mind it because if he stays held, that's a big if. But if he does, it seems like the ups and downs. What he writes here is that says, hold on, where did I read it? Or no, that was the other grading guy who basically said, he didn't show that ability to do those things he did till last season, and then he broke his foot. So it wasn't like he has this long track record of being this Rock of Gibraltar run-stopping, fierce pass-rushing defensive tackles.
He had a good 2024.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, I liked him. I had him in my Purple Prey.
Correct.
I looked at him as someone who was supposed to go in a day 2 pick that had first-round potential, right? Which is what caught my eye. and at a position of need. If you look at any of the positions on the entire team, I would say defensive line, defensive tackle is the biggest position of need. Now, I don't have the inside information that Rob Brzezinski and the Vikings staff has, the front office has, but I still have a hard time believing we couldn't trade down out of that spot and still get him. Right? Like, even look at the Philadelphia-Dallas trade in the first round. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia moved from 23 to 20, and they gave up 2 fourth-round picks to go from 23 to 20. Yeah, obviously, the Vikings were picking at 18.
Yeah.
So how we couldn't have made a similar move where you're gaining some extra draft capital, I have a hard time believing Caleb Banks wouldn't be there 5 picks later, right?
Right.
And so when you are going for a guy who's maybe thought to be a reach, and like I said, I don't have the inside information. Maybe they knew a team below them was dead set on going after Caleb Banks, and I'll never know that. So I have the right to change my view on that, but I have a hard time believing we couldn't have moved down, grab some more draft equity. It doesn't mean you have to make picks at those spots, but you can use those picks to move up higher into the second round for your second round pick, or trade for next year's picks. I have a hard time believing they couldn't trade down a little bit and try to get something out of it. Yeah. Get some draft capital.
Yeah, and it's like you say, we'll never know, but I tend to agree with you that he's probably, because it sounds like whatever steam he had he was losing it because of the broken foot. A lot of other teams didn't seem to be very interested, but we don't know. Could he have gone at 25? I don't know. Could he have gone at 19? I don't know. Like you say, we won't know. Someone sent me a text that says, can Common break down the Kitties draft? I can't break it down any more than it, like I did with the Vikings. I see a bunch of names. I see a bunch of what round it was in, what pick number it was, what his name is, what school it went to. I know they draft their first pick. They took an offensive lineman who was they consider, there were some nice things written about him. So you look at it and you go, there was other people I read that panned the pick and said he's not that good. Lions like what they saw in him. We'll see. I like that they went offensive line. They needed help because they've lost a number of people in the offensive line. Then they got the edge rusher.
Which, by the way, on the offensive line, there are some that believe the Penei Sewell to left tackle stuff was just all smoke screen ahead of time. Yeah, like to act like we don't need a left tackle in the first round when they all know we're going to get a left tackle. They're trying to get some others off the scent.
That could be. That could very well be. And if that was the case and that's the guy they wanted, that worked. He might have been gone prior to that. That's a good move on their part. They got the edge rusher out of Michigan. I can't remember the kid's name. I don't know anything from that school up north. I don't know anything about him. I now know they just knew they needed. Hutchinson is a really good edge rusher, but when there's no fear of anybody else on that line of getting it, then the line, look, Lions have always...
It's like Kaprizov with Hartman and Brink.
They'll tell you the lines, and we like some of our other guys. No, you don't. You don't. You're just saying that because you want to make those guys feel better. They had nobody to help Hutch. You double Hutch or chip them, and there wasn't that much. There wasn't a very big fear. So they needed to get a guy. If he can be... I don't know how good he can be. Who knows? If he's really, really good, if it ends up being a great pick, they'll have two formidable edge rushers, and it would be a bonus for him. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Then someone says you should listen to Lieber's impression on this from this morning on the power trip. It was pretty insightful.
Let me guess, he loved it.
Well, of course he did. Of course he loved it. He loves Twin Cities Live too. What I'll do is, instead of listening to that segment of the power trip, I'll just put it this way, Tenevie. Ben Lieber and I text and talk more than most people know, just in case you're wondering. So I'll text Ben, as a matter of fact, later today and say, what did you think of what am I calling him again? Walking Boot Banks. This one says, it was very quiet confusion and silence when they picked Banks at U.S. Bank Stadium. I've been to 4 Vikings draft parties. It was very quiet. Paul Allen said the place erupted. Very opposite. So do you think, I don't know. I wasn't listening. Did the place erupt? Or was it? My guess is they didn't erupt. I don't know. Maybe they did. Because I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I wasn't listening, but it did sound like PA kind of prepped the crowd ahead of time because he knew the pick was coming.
Okay.
So, I really like Caleb Banks. Thinks he would be a really good pick here for the purple.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, then that only makes sense then. But yeah, I think it kind of caught most people off guard, right? No, off tackle. No way.
Off Justin Guard?
Off Justin Guard. JG. I'm exhausted. I put everything I had into it today, Tennessee. Thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
Yeah, you as well. We enjoyed our visit as we always do. It's fun. They said that Lieber said they picked the best available player at every pick. I don't believe he said that. I don't. Someone's just trying to get me going now. But maybe he did. I'll ask him when we text and talk more than most. We're back tomorrow 12
They
noon.
picked Brian Flores' favorite player at that available moment is what they did.
I think you're spot on there. We'll talk tomorrow 12 noon. Big Ticket JG. They're next right here on the Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.